I got home from work one evening and God asked me to step out. We did lots of those "can you step out with me please" kind of things. I felt the need to take some money along, so I loaded my purse to take a walk with God. We went all the way to the bus stop and I got into a bus. While sitting there, a young man was on the phone, frantically trying to locate an envelope containing the originals of his documents. He had forgotten it somewhere and wasn't sure where exactly. One of the calls that came in was someone asking him to come get his documents because they found it. By the time they described the location, he mentioned that he would have to get off the bus he was on to board another one, and he wasn't sure he could make it there as he was already out of money. Since they were unwilling to get it to him, he said he will get off at the next stop and see how he'll make his way to them before they close for the day. As I listened in on that conversation, I understood why God had me on that bus that fateful evening. As the young man was despondently getting off the bus, I reached across and dumped the notes in his hand. His dejected face looked at me without any discernible emotion, but as he looked into his hand and saw the notes, his face lit up. He turned back to say something, and I urged him on as the bus was about to leave and he needed to get off. I saw him standing at the bus stop, just staring at me like I was a ghost. And how many times have I seen that look that asks, "Are you human or are you an angel?" He very well might have been an angel to me too. We just never know. It works both ways. We not only entertain angels, they also step in on our behalf. I have been helped by angels, but I will save the stories for another day. Today's study from Genesis 18 is still about this man called Abraham, who was already blessed beyond his wildest imagination. He wanted for nothing. Chilling out one hot afternoon, he noticed 3 travelers nearby. They must have come a long way and were obviously in need of refreshment. Get your journal, please, for some reflections. Given the times we live in, what would be your reaction if you were in Abraham's place? Get offended that they got into your property without your permission? Mad that they were standing there without coming to speak to you as the owner of the place? Jump on your feet and ask them to leave your property immediately. After all, you don't know them. Stranger danger. They might as well be criminals for all you care. Nicely find out why they are there and get them out of your hair as quick as possible. After all, you got enough of your own issues and want no one adding to it. Welcome them in, meet their obvious needs the best you can, and send them on their way refreshed. We all have these options before us, and each of us make choices that serve us best. What we don't often understand, though, is that by taking care of strangers, some of us have ministered to angels without realizing it. By choosing to be kind to those strangers, Abraham had no idea the surprise he was in for. They didn't ask anything of him. He took one look at them and discerned that these men have come some ways and needed some entertainment. He didn't set leftovers on the table for them. Not that anything is wrong with leftovers if they are the best we have to offer. But a gift that is already going bad is always a no, please. Thank you. The point here is that Abraham went out of his way to serve his very best to these random strangers. Please get your journal again. How and what do you serve those around you? How and what do you serve strangers you meet along your way? Nothing we give goes to waste. There is a reward for every gift and every service. Some show up immediately, some others later, but the assurance of reward is certain. However, we don't serve for rewards. We serve because that is what Christ would do if he was wearing our shoes. We serve because that is what God would have us do. And we serve a God who loves and takes care of us through those he brings our way. According to his word, whatever we do for the least of these ones we meet, we did for him. Yes. Everything we give to others in the name of the Lord, we give to God. And every service we render to others as unto the Lord, we render to him. Knowing that God is never coming down from heaven to ask us for anything, that instead he asks through those he brings our way. How should we serve, and what should we give to those we meet? Nothing less than our very best. The very things we are saving to give to God, we should give to these people, and God will appreciate. Abraham, being very blessed already, was not prideful or arrogant in his ways and treatment of others. Those who lose their heads because they are blessed actually miss the greater blessings ahead. Abraham understood that every blessing God gives us is for a purpose that serves him and those he brings our way. Thus, it was not difficult for him to reach out to those strangers and mobilize his entire household to make sure they were served the best. He wasn't doing it because he was expecting anything from them. From the look of things, they didn't appear to have much to offer themselves, least of all a rich man like him. Still, he did not look down on them. We have no idea how much we miss in life when we treat people based on their looks. Nothing is as deceptive as appearances. One of the unforgettable lessons I learned working closely with Jesus is to never take anyone for granted. Because you never know. It doesn't matter how advantaged or disadvantaged they seem today. People are always more than they appear. Besides, times and things change rather quickly, and you have no idea where God is taking them. Abraham's reception and entertainment of those three strangers were not based on their appearances. It was based on his heart toward God and others, a heart that rightly translates his fervent love for God to non-discriminatory compassion toward those he meets, irrespective of who they are and how they look. For how can we claim that we love the God we do not see when we find it hard to love those we interact with on a day-to-day basis? How can we sincerely care about God when we don't care for those he cares about? Do you want to step back and reevaluate the way you see and treat those around you? How about doing the same for those you meet out there, whom you may not even know? Don't forget that by being kind to strangers, people have and will continue to bless God and angels. Also, keep in mind that we can become angels to those who are looking to God to help them with the very things He has put in our hands. I can't count how many instances where I have been referred to as an angel for showing up and being the answer to the prayer of people. Time and time again, everything unplanned. A friend called me some time ago to check in on his friend who was flown into the city where I lived for emergency surgery. The surgery was successful, but she had no family around. I got flowers and a card and showed up, and this woman who didn't know me was amazed. I told her our mutual friend sent me and dropped the gifts on behalf of her friend. I spent some time with her and prayed for her before I left. A few hours later, our mutual friend called me to share how this woman said she was touched by the visit of an angel. After the elaborate entertainment, the angels were refreshed and decided they would not leave the man who had blessed them without reservations the way they met him. Without Abraham disclosing anything, the angels happened to also have a message that was about to change his life and entire household for good. The promised heir that has been lingering for years. They came to confirm that by the same time next year, the promise will become a reality. Abraham smiled. I've heard this before. Remember, God, tell me something I don't know. Sarah, who like a typical woman had to scratch her itching curiosity by eavesdropping, burst into the loudest silent laughter at that ridiculous promise that wouldn't come to pass and wouldn't go away and let them be, coming up again at this late hour in their life. She must have been like, this God, are we still on this promise at this stage and age in our lives? Please, Lord, tell me something I don't know. The angels may not have noticed, but I suspect Sarah must have rolled her eyes as she laughed. Despite those odd responses, the divine visitors delivered on their assignment because Abraham opened the door of his heart and home. His kindness toward the strangers made it possible for them to confirm the set time for the delivery of God's long-awaited promise. Just like we can't explicitly tell the gains and be in the hands and feet of God to those we meet, neither can we tell the losses we incur by closing the doors of our hearts to the strangers that God brings our way. If we could stop looking at it like they are just coming to take our stuff, but instead see those as opportunities that God is using them to open doors we can't open for ourselves. No, God is not always trying to take away from us as we suppose. He does not always ask from us, but we have to be discerning to know when to give and when to serve without waiting to be asked. It is called maturing in our walk with God. God gives so much more than He asks of us, and He gives us first. Always, He sets every example He wants us to follow. Remember, He gave His Son first before He asked us to give our lives to Him. He pours into us first before He sends us to go and pour into others. He blesses us so He can use us to bless others as well. If He's asking anything of you, it's not because He wants to take away your stuff. It's because He wants to include you in His chain of blessings. He wants to use you to spread His blessings. And as you give to others, you make room for God to refill your cup. He does not ask of us what we do not already have. And we should give willingly and cheerfully, because giving enriches, not diminishes us. When we serve in His name, we are opening doors for God to serve us in areas we can't serve ourselves. When we give as unto the Lord, we are planting seeds that God will give the body of what we can give ourselves to meet our needs. Can you rethink the way you treat others today? Those you know and those you don't know. Can you choose to see God in every person you meet and do the best you can to be the God they see? Can you imagine the global transformation if every one of us will see God in those around us and treat them thus, knowing that we may very well be the God they are encountering on their journey? Don't forget to subscribe and share this with family and friends. Be inspired. You are a star, and it's your time to shine.